Hi, and welcome back to All Politics is Local. We are now focusing on the contested races for school committee. We're joined by Tina Fitanides, who's running for school committee. She's a newcomer to running for elected office. Tina, thanks for taking a couple minutes to join us here on All Politics is Local.
Well, thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.
Well, it's an honor, and kudos has to go out to anybody who's running for elected office and wants to make a difference in their community. Let's talk a couple minutes. What interests you about the school committee, and why are you stepping in to run for school committee?
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, my full name is Tina Fitanides, which is how it will appear on the ballot, but feel free to call me Tina. That's, what I typically go by. I'm the parent of two kids who are currently in the Ashland school system, and I'm also an education lawyer and advocate. And I decided to run for the school committee because I believe that my personal connection to both our schools and the community, as well as my professional experience and expertise, would be a new and uniquely qualified voice on the school committee.
Wow, wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I've lived in Ashland for 17 years with my husband. Our kids have gone to the Ashland Public Schools since kindergarten. I've also been a very active volunteer in our town for many years. I've served on various site councils at Warren School, Mendez School, and now currently at the middle school. I've also been involved in different school district task forces and many other community groups. Professionally, I've dedicated my career to public service, and the majority of my career has been spent in the education policy and legislative advocacy field. And I've worked on a range of different education issues related to student needs, staff development, family engagement, and a host of different issues. Currently, I work with families as a special education advocate to help them navigate the special education system. And, like I said, as both a parent and professional, I believe I have a new and unique voice to add to the school committee.
Wonderful. Let me ask you a question. Coming out of a pandemic, I'm a parent, and I'm also a parent of an adult age now, special needs child as well too, but he went through the Ashland school system with special needs. What are your concerns as a candidate running for school committee about the mental health crisis that the pandemic caused? Not so much the health, of COVID with the kids, but the kids' routine has been compromised, different way of learning. What can you bring to the school committee for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's going to be one of the biggest concerns of the school committee for the next year, possibly longer, and really kind of looking at how has COVID impacted our kids, not just from an education and academic standpoint, but really from that mental health perspective, from that social emotional perspective. And I know, the district has certainly put a lot of energy into helping prepare teachers to address the needs of their students, and also, kind of focusing on how to identify those student needs, because honestly, I think some of them are unknown, like we're just now getting all of the students back into school 5 days a week. And I think we will start to see some of them now, but then returning next year in September, I think, to a more normal school year. What will the expectations for students be? How will they present? What will their needs be? And looking at both that lost learning time, but also that lost social and emotional growth piece. And so I think the district is really going to have to be flexible in terms of how it addresses, both identifies and addresses the needs of students. I think it's incredibly crucial for them to be, really in tune with parents, to be able to hear and understand their perspective and feedback and what they're seeing in their kids and what their experiences are. Because I think the parent voice is going to be incredibly important in really helping work together with the school system to make sure that our kids' needs are met.
I can just speak on a personal level. When I was working from home during COVID and then had to go back into the office, as an adult, I lost some of my muscle memory of like, where do I keep that? How do I do this? I haven't done this in 6 months. How do I do it? I can't imagine being a kid.
Yeah.
And, having those challenges as well too, plus the social anxiety. So
absolutely. And, our kids are really resilient. And so I think we need to, kind of build upon their strengths, but really pay attention and see where each one of them needs to be, supported a little extra. And they likely will all need something a little different. I think, really kind of individualizing and being able to pinpoint what our students need is going to be a crucial element of moving forward.
As a longtime local official in Ashland and a person who raised my family in Ashland, one of the big selling points for me was always the great quality of the schools. And I think the school committee should be commended for their great work that they've done over my lifetime of being in town for more than 20 plus years. What value can you add to the school committee with your expertise and background?
Absolutely, and I would absolutely agree with you. I think our administration and school committee have moved forward on some incredibly important initiatives. It's always been very clear to me that they put our students first, and that they're able to really dive into the issues that need to be looked at. I think, kind of the value of bringing a new voice to the table at this point, particularly a parent voice of students who are currently in the school system, is the fact that the unknown impacts of COVID at this point, I think is going to be one of the paramount issues the school committee is dealing with. And my lived experience is of two students who are very different learners and did have very different experiences, both academically and emotionally, in dealing with COVID. And so, I believe that a new voice and perspective can be really helpful at this point. And also, when thinking about moving initiatives forward, the school committee has done a lot of really great work, has moved many initiatives forward, specifically thinking of things like social emotional learning, increasing electives at the high school, making sure that our special ed programs are as inclusive as possible. And I think sometimes when you've been involved in initiatives for so long, it's really easy to focus on how far you've come. And I would really like to bring a new voice to the table to shift the focus to how far we can go. Because I think it's important sometimes and helpful sometimes for a fresh set of eyes to bring a new perspective to the table.
Real quickly, do you have any projects or any goals for if you're elected?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are certainly areas that I would like to, that I would consider my priorities, communication among them. I know that improving communication is something that that most people see as important. Even the district, it's something that the district is currently undergoing a communication audit to really take a bit of a deeper dive into the communication in the district. And I would really like to see and make sure that that definition of communication is expanded to really be two-way communication rather than information sharing and how well does the district share information, but what does that conversation look like? And are parents really able to engage as true partners in their kids' learning? And another area that I believe I could help with the district move forward on is social emotional learning and racial equity initiatives. These are both areas that the district has committed substantial effort and resources towards. And I would really love to bring my professional experience to the conversation to help the district grow in these areas. They're both areas that I have had the opportunity to work on professionally and develop some expertise in these areas. So I would really love to be able to be involved in those conversations. And, another area that's really important to me is early literacy. As both a special education advocate who's had the opportunity to see the impact of ineffective early literacy instruction, and also as a parent and a professional, but as a parent of a student who has dyslexia, I've had the opportunity to dive into this area, learn more both as a parent and a professional. And I believe that, my experience can strengthen the discussion. This is also an area that the district has, committed some time and effort towards, and they've definitely made some notable improvements to early literacy instruction. But I believe more can and should be done to really make sure that early literacy is as strong as it can be, and really make sure that it aligns with the, documented research on how we know students learn to read.
Well, good for you. Tina, you've got 1 minute to tell the people of Ashland why they should elect you and send you to the school committee.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks for having me. And, as as I said, you know, as both a parent and professional, I believe I bring a unique perspective to the school committee. I believe my experience would be an informed voice to help move many of the initiatives that the district is already working on forward. And I do believe that, you know, my role as an advocate has always been to, both as a legislative advocate and now working directly with parents, has really been to empower them and give them a voice. And that's what I would really hope to do as a school committee member.
Well, that's great. We appreciate you taking the time to join us here on All Politics is Local. Good luck on election day. And you're going to find Tina on the ballots. Don't forget to get out and vote. Thanks,
Thank
Tina.
you, John.
All right, Ashland voters, you've had the opportunity to meet the select board candidates and the school committee candidates. Now keep in mind, all politics is local. The most important election is the election where you raise your family and your friends all gather. The most important election that you can vote in my opinion, is your public elections. So take part in the Ashland election. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Keep in mind, there's early voting this year. You can vote at the Ashland Town Hall on May 12th from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And also on Saturday, May 15th from 9 a.m. to noon. And then election day, a little bit different time, is Tuesday, May 18th. The polls open at 10 a.m. and close promptly at 7 p.m. And we'll wrap it all up here on WACA